So Bulgaria is not getting the territories in Turkey that they had wanted, which is going to be another setback for the Reichspakt. And it's not even the Reichspakt. In fact, the Reichspakt would be supporting Bulgaria to attack. It's the co-prosperity sphere which is denying it, and then Iran, frankly, which is doing a great job as an AI, taking these territories. Meanwhile, in the USA, oh wow! The PSA have just made a massive break. They've taken Chicago, they're on their way to Detroit. They didn't need to cut off Michigan this way. They could just cut them off across the peninsula instead of the upper peninsula. Man, that's gonna be a blow. The hell happened? Here's the PSA being sent guns. Now they're being sent guns. They've been sent 10 support equipment and 2,700 rifles, whereas the USA, and I dread to see exactly what they've been sent, have gotten a Lend-Lease from Australasia, which is now 7,464 guns. That's 7,000. And 45,000 fuel from Canada. Flipping hell, that's a lot of guns. Plus, this is America. They should be producing a lot of their own equipment. Like, this is the industrial heartland. They have the East Coast. They have New York. They have Pittsburgh. They have Boston. They had Detroit and Chicago and Indianapolis. Turkey's done. Turkey is basically done, yeah. And Reichspakt remains completely blocked there. Now, is the AUS able to push at all against the USA now that the Pacific States is doing such a great job? I mean, the USA is definitely scrambling a little bit here. We're seeing these units in low organization. They are probably being shipped in by mass speed. Florida has fallen, so all of the troops that were in Florida can now be redirected to other front lines. Still not using commanders very well. But their armies are growing massively. They are getting a lot of divisions in the ground. They have got a standing army now of 2 million. That's a few. That is definitely a few. Whereas the PSA has a standing army of 1 million, and the AUS has a standing army of 690,000. But the PSA taking Detroit and Chicago, that's a really big deal. And then all of these are going to be cut off. That's a large number of divisions. 8, 9, 10, 22, 27, 28, 31 divisions caught here. 31 out of the 176 they have. The Straits of the Dardanelles in the west where Gallipoli is, and the Bosphorus. Bosphorus! That's what I was trying to think. Dardanelles here, Bosphorus here. Is the Bosphorus that I was trying to think of the name. Is Sacramento going to be the new capital of America? I think it might well be. I mean, we did foresee the United States losing. I did think it was going to be the AUS. I'm still astonished that the AUS crumbled as quickly as they did. But this is a definite comeback by the PSA, and I think that is helmed by the volunteers. And that really shows you the difference that having well-led volunteer forces can make. Because America, like throughout the American Civil War, the American regular forces will get stronger and stronger and stronger, but that's true for all 4 factions. So the volunteers will have less and less of an impact, although early on they're incredibly strong. But they are still having an impact, which makes me wonder just how big and how strong these template units are. Because they're probably going to pack a punch. And bear in mind, not allowed to send tanks. Not allowed to send any mechanized or motorized. This is just infantry and artillery. And there it goes. Peace deal between Yemen and the Ottomans. The Ottomans have now peaced out. And the Ottomans are fighting, oh dear, against the Bulgarians. And the Bulgarians... Oh no, this is a disaster for Bulgaria. Oh dear. oh dear, are now going to be horrifically surrounded. And I think it was actually Bulgaria that ended the war, because they're the ones sitting on Ankara right now. This is the second time this game that's happened. The first time was when the Third Internationale lost a huge number of troops over in left KMT when they capitulated Anqing and then got surrounded. And now it's Bulgaria. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 divisions at least surrounded and destroyed. Bulgaria is not manpower rich, especially because they didn't take Romania, Greece or Serbia. This is a massive blow for them. This is a really, really big problem, and they're not even trying to move out, which I think is a massive mistake. Do they still hope they can capitulate the Ottomans before the war ends? I don't know what their game plan here is. Because these guys, if they moved out straight away, could have gone for Samsun. Try and get the port there. Or here. Kastamonu. But now they've been surrounded and the Ottomans will just attack into them to stop them moving. These guys could try and get down to Antalya. This guy could lead the way and then they'd connect up. Oof. Okay, Von Ragnar. That was good. That was very good. Order restored to the Kingdom of Romania. Romania is no longer an occupied puppet. Okay. So, you were saying that... Let me just make sure I get this right. You could say that America has been pacified. Yeah! Oh yeah. Gotta love you some CSI Miami there. Hate the way this works. Mechanic needs a black flag or something. It does, but that becomes more difficult because they're already in the war. But then their units are stuck. Yeah, it does. Like, I remember I lost an army when Soviets capitulated and I was Germany and got completely cut off. It was horrible. I think that was even in Kaiserreich. Might have been. I don't remember. It was one of the community multiplayers. I am really surprised that the Bulgarians are being so passive about escaping from this. Have they just not realized? I mean, these guys are active, but they're not microing. They're not moving of their own volition. Portugal declared war on CNTFAI. Was Portugal kicked out of the Entente? It was. Don't know how they did that. Probably some more save game magic. See you, CPM. Do the Bulgarians have access through Egypt? That's a good question. That would save them. They have a non-aggression pact with Egypt. Let's see if they could get one. Military access. Egypt says no. More like CSA Miami. So it does look like the Americans are pushing back again, trying to get a cutoff here. Though the PSA forces are fighting back, Russians are coming in to reinforce, and they're going to turn this into a 2-province bottleneck. Fall of Lisbon, so I don't think the Portuguese are going to be able to hold out for very long. I wonder if Canada's planning to intervene. Because Canada intervening could really screw up the Pacific Day. And I think they might be planning just that. Meanwhile, I want to see this from the PSA's perspective, because this is impressive. Like, the PSA is dutifully just occupying every province that their volunteer allies are taking for them. Like, look how many men they've moved in over here. That's pretty good. They're on the ball. Although, then again, the front line that they had was really, really short, and the PSA does have a lot of divisions in the field now. They're really starting to lose manpower. So the PSA has now lost 2.5 million. No, sorry. 250,000. Wow, I misread that number. AUS has lost 1.8 million, and the United States has lost 1.6. So the AUS are the ones being made to absolutely bleed, and they are being attacked, but now the AUS is actually holding the line. So whatever weird advantage it was that the USA had against the AUS, they don't seem to have it anymore. Or at least not in the same level. Because now they're actually being able to hold. Meanwhile, Mexico has gone to war with the Central American Confederation, so I think we're about to see an embiggened Mexico. Meanwhile, CNTFAI going after the Portuguese. That's a lot of CNTFAI troops. How are they doing in their focus tree? They're slowly getting it. I mean, they are going to be about, what, a year, maybe 2 years behind the times. Because of basically having to restart the focus. Fentieng, meanwhile, has occupied the whole of China. So all of that is now been taken. Have we got these guys joining? Moscow Accord has not yet joined the co-prosperity sphere. Neither has the Fentieng government. But basically all of this would be co-prosperity now. And it's one contiguous landmass, which is terrifying. Nationalist France did survive. CNTFAI will be joining the Third Internationale. Reichspakt still owns Central Europe. They will have Austria. Now, what's Austria doing? Centralizing the governments. Have they gone for a split? Again, don't really want to look into their focus trees too closely. AIs I don't mind. Players I don't really want to do it. Not now. Not until the World War breaks out. If the AUS falls or the ceasefire ends, then PSA is going to have issues. True, but like neither faction have troops on this border right now. Although that would definitely help the USA the most. And the AUS is closer to capitulation than the US is now. Maybe this is what the PSA was fighting for. Maybe they were waiting for the United States to push the AUS so much that the deal with the devil happened and then the PSA could push back. I don't know. I don't know if it can be, like, planned to quite such a degree. And I'm a little bit surprised that these guys aren't losing organization faster. Because this area is really dangerous. The USA is really starting to put some pressure on. But some of their units are beginning to struggle. I'm definitely seeing the strength of the US armies waning, which would suggest a equipment shortage, despite the amount of guns they're being sent. Oops. That was something. And are you still being sent a lot of guns? Yep, 8,700 guns now from Australasia. And not a lot of it is being intercepted. They're getting 673 guns a day. 673. Well, Australasia has no manpower. And... interesting. Meanwhile, Interlindia has secured many of the territories in the Dutch East Indies. They haven't managed to land in Borneo yet, most likely because the Dutch do have a lot of submarines patrolling this area. The Dutch do make it difficult, especially because Interlindia doesn't start with a navy. But they do, of course, have a whole bunch of focuses which can really help them build a navy. And I do remember that Interlindia last year was one of the playable nations for the co-prosperity sphere. And it would basically give them a presence in the Far East. And actually, with left KMT and Interlindia, I'm surprised that that's still not a thing. Like, who'd they get instead? Switzerland? I think I'd rather have Interlindia. USA have access through Canada. Ah! That makes sense. Yeah, they have access and they're giving access. That makes a lot more sense. Fair point. Meanwhile, Detroit has fallen again. I think that this must... no, sorry, it's This bit is cut off. Ooh, America has done it. And the volunteers are definitely feeling rather hard-pressed. Basically what they have to do is push through here to try and reunite through the north, but this might be a disaster for the PSA. Like, if they lose this many troops, it's over. However, Eisenhower just got wounded. Wait, why is Eisenhower
Yes, sir.
not a field marshal? Because he's not. Mullen, Craig, and Douglas MacArthur are the field marshals. Eisenhower isn't. That's interesting. If I was the AUS right now, I'd be so pissed at the PSA. It's like, how did you get cut off that badly? How? Do you know how hard we've been fighting to maintain this border? Also, those Fentieng units. Oof. I'm guessing that's actually because they've just upgraded their templates, but yikes. They've taken a bit of a smashing as well. Yeah, I'm guessing that the Co-Prosperity forgot this in the same way that I did. It's like, you get access through Canada. So it's actually much more difficult to get the cutoffs here than you would otherwise anticipate. Yeah, this is a massive pocket, and I think it is going to get destroyed. 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 16, 17, 19, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 29, 31, 32, 33, 34, plus whatever this is. Yeah, can't tell now. Do this. No, I can't. Yeah, it's like 36. It probably was about 40 divisions that were just caught there. And the PSA have got 78. That's half their army just gone. And the USA is just expanding the hold here. Oh, what a shame. Yeah, unfortunately the PSA and the volunteers just weren't able to hold this corridor. And it was kind of critical, and they were never able to push up here in the north. Oof, that's gonna sting. Russian state has dismantled their faction full of Rio de Janeiro. Russia has joined the Co-Prosperity sphere. And we have the Empire of Brazil currently fighting against Socialist Republic of Argentina. So if Argentina manages to beat Brazil, I didn't even realize they were fighting Brazil. Thanks, notifications. This is going to give them a lot more power in South America. And then from South America they could power project into either Africa or the Americas. And having Brazil and Argentina is a lot of industry and a lot of manpower. So I had not really seen this as a route of expansion, but I get it now. It's not a bad idea. Like, one of the problems that players of the Third International have in this is, where do you go? Where do you expand? You can't really go overseas because Canada, Reichspakt, Japan all have huge navies, USA. You can't really expand in Europe because the line between you and Germany tends to be pretty much stagnant. You can expand a little bit in Italy, but then once you've got the Italian peninsula, that's it. You could go into North Africa, I guess. Mediterranean should be relatively easy to secure. Yeah, I guess your next obvious route of expansion would be North Africa. Try and take Suez, and then maybe threaten India. But throughout all of that, you're going to be dealing with... No, actually, that seems reasonable. Because you would have the SRI, France, and Spain's navies in that area fighting against, what, the Bulgarians? Maybe nationalist France? You control Gibraltar, so Reichspakt can't get through there. Oh, they can go through Suez. But then that's also risky. Like, would you send the German Navy into the Mediterranean where they could get potentially cut off? Maybe. Submarines you could. But then a lot of the Mediterranean is shallow sea. No, it's not. I stand corrected. No, submarines in the Mediterranean are actually really effective. It's all ocean. And ocean gives you the visibility buff on subs. See you, Tim. See you, Marshall. And there we go. The pocket is dwindling in size, losing organization. I mean, they're probably doing a ton of damage as well. They still have Detroit, which is a source of supply because it's a victory point, but it's not going to be a very good source. Certainly not like just having your own area. Meanwhile, the USA is starting to push against the Pacific states, which are going to be much reduced in terms of frontline troops. And now, are they sending them equipment? Not really anymore. Whereas the USA is now up to 9,000 guns in 1939. 9,000 guns in 1939. That's insane. Something that might be fun for multiplayer Kaiserreich is to set the country path for the USA to go four-way war, leave them as AI, and let the players do volunteers, and whichever faction sent the volunteers to the winning Americans gets to hot join a player over post-war. Yeah, I agree, it's a good idea. One of these days we might do another Kaiserreich multiplayer, but once the vanilla Hearts of Iron one is done, we'll need to do a U4, because I've been promising that for a while. And also, as we've seen from this, Kaiserreich is kind of unstable. Did Bulgaria peace out Turkey? Nope. And Bulgaria is, oh flipping hell, lost 423,000 to the Ottomans because of the cutoffs. I mean, they are starting a pretty nice naval invasion here in the north, but they could have and should have saved a heck of a lot more troops than they actually did. That was so unfortunate. Too shallow, sailed it once in a catamaran. It's officials though, it says ocean. Like shallow is up here in the English Channel. Submarine visibility plus 100%, which is not good. Whereas there are no penalties or bonuses in the ocean. And then you got deep ocean, like out here in the Atlantic, which give you even a bigger bonus. Visibility minus 25% for submarines. However, it also reduces their movement, so they're less likely to catch convoys and stuff. Although, then again, destroyers are also reduced in strength. And submarines don't have an attack bonus reduction. Interesting. Australasian Guard coup. Shocking news from the Australasian Confederation. As the Australasian Guard, a group of right-wing authoritarians, have long criticised the Australasian government. How unexpected! Can't wait until EU4 gets subscriptions rolled out to everyone. Yeah, that's going to make a big difference, and I think there's definitely going to be a big influx of new players if and when that happens. One thing I did want to take a look at. Let's choose Morocco. I want to take a look at your tech tree, because I want to remind myself how the Kaiserreich ships work. What is an escort cruiser? I'm guessing an escort cruiser is just a light cruiser. Because, yeah, it doesn't look like there's heavy destroyers. So you got destroyers, light cruisers. I'm guessing armoured cruiser is heavy, but it might just be a super heavy light cruiser. Because you've also got the heavy ships, which are dreadnoughts and then battleships. And then carriers, submarines. You can actually build large submarines, unlike in vanilla. The only thing that's missing now are the escort carriers, which I thought were a really good idea, but they removed them. You get small carriers and then the big fleet carriers. And the small ones you could use for like recon duty. Alright, let's take another look at the PSA. And watch the brave last stand. Thankfully none of the volunteer units are here. And it does look like the troops in Detroit will be able to stand for quite a long time, but that's half their army. Half! That's really going to sting. Oh, Sindrin sent some bits. I'm sorry, I missed that earlier. Jokes about the American Civil War? General Lee didn't find them funny. Then we've got Lord Asher, thank you very much for the follow, and then Mobile X wants me to drink some tea. Which I can do. Done. I think I might have some more. Personally surprised the base game isn't free. I think that'll happen soon. I mean, it happened with CK2, and from what I understand was a huge success because it sold a lot of DLC. So yes, I would not be surprised if we see that happening soon.